Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. How are you guys? I miss you guys so much. I literally, okay, as you guys can see, I'm in my new house in Germany. I just moved from South Carolina to Germany. I've been here since the 10th of October and it took us forever to get Wi-Fi. It took us forever to get a car. Like, it was just a shit show to say the least. And I still have my government furniture. Obviously this is not like my furniture, but last night we did get an email saying that it finally arrived in Germany and it's gonna take like 2 more weeks to go through customs and all that. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks I have my stuff. I already have plans because I was like, what can I spend money on that I'm not gonna regret later? And obviously I need to start my collection again. If you guys don't know, I had to get rid of all of my plants in South Carolina. So I basically went and got plants as soon as I got here. And yesterday I went to get like some free pots, right, from this lady who's moving, and I ended up getting 2 more plants. These were like this one and this one. They were free. So obviously I am a very happy plant lady right now. So today we're gonna be going over every single book that I read in August, September, and October. I am gonna go through them fast until you like kind of like a little bit quick, you know, thought about it, so that we can keep this fast, you know, because I already like had a long intro. So the first book that I read was From Blood and Ash. This one, okay, I can see why people like it. I can see why people are obsessed with it. I feel like because this book is old, it's kind of, I think it's like from 2020. I feel like I didn't find it to be like new. If anything, I feel like this was probably one of the OG like fantasy romance that made everyone like fall in love with them, like apart from Akatar, Cruel Prince, and all that. Even though Cruel Prince is not really a romance in my opinion, but you know, I feel like those books kind of like hyped up fantasy romance and it got people like me into them. So I can see why in 2020 this book was great and it was good, you know what I mean? I'm not like a huge fan of vampires. Out of all of the like, you know, spooky things, I feel like vampires are like my least favorite, so that didn't like excite me as much as maybe like other people. I am currently reading her newest book, so I would rather kind of like get into that one over like continuing the series. Obviously if I find the book somewhere or if it happens to be available at the library or like, you know, any of those like random situations that I don't have to plan out, I might continue the series, but right now I'm not really planning on continuing it. So yeah, anyways, then I read Twisted Lies. I do have a vlog for this, so for these books that I already have a vlog up for, I will just link up the vlog, but I really like this one. I feel like if I had to rate the whole series, it would be like the one with Reese, right, like the one like with the bodyguard, and then this one and the third one, and then the first one will be the last one. I didn't like Twisted Lies that much. So yeah, then we have Fourth Wing, which was a reread. I have already read it twice this year and I cannot believe that the next book is gonna be out literally in exactly 1 week. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I am super excited about it. I don't even know what to expect. I feel like I don't want to get too hyped up about it because then it's gonna let me down, you know what I mean? So I want to go in without any expectations, just going with the flow. And then Fangs, obviously I loved it, but I talked about it in that vlog, so you guys can check that out. Then I have my first DNF, which is Project Hail Mary. All I'm gonna say about this is it sounds amazing. Whenever it comes out in a movie, let me know because I want to watch it. If you're super into sci-fi, you are gonna love this book. I personally feel like I am just not into these type of books. Like, I enjoy watching movies about like sci-fi, but I don't like reading about sci-fi. I just don't, I can't get into it. So as soon as I realized what was happening, like who he was gonna partner up with to solve the situation, I was like, I much rather watch that. Like, I don't. Same thing with like when I read the Cage Preservation Society, I think it's called. As soon as the dinosaurs came out, I was like, okay, no, I'm not into this. I rather watch it. Like, I just want to watch it. I want to see it. To me, reading about it is not enough. I guess like my imagination is not good enough for that. All right, then I have Milk Fed. This one, all I'm gonna say is look at the trigger warnings. Also, it's very graphic, like in a, some people might find it gross, you know what I mean? Like, I am a very open-minded person, so I mean, I don't really get that grossed out by bodily fluids. I am a dental assistant and my favorite thing is to pull teeth out of people's mouth, so that's why I didn't mind it. But it is like, it touches a lot on an eating disorder, so if you do have a history of eating disorder, I would definitely stay away from it. I will literally tell you to stay away from it because I feel like it's way too detailed. I can see how it's triggering. Like, it was triggering me and I have never had an eating disorder. Imagine if I had an ED. You know what I mean? It was just not for everyone. It was for me though. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It was amazing. I love books about, like, I just love books that are different. You know what I mean? Even if they're not like a work of art or like it changes my life, if it's something that I have never like experienced before, or like I feel like it's very, very new to me, I'm gonna love it. Then I have The One. This one was really, really good, you guys. Like, this was more like psychological thriller. We follow like 5 different people, and I feel like they're not really like related, like they don't know each other, but they are kind of like related in a way. Like, if you see it from the outside, you can see how they're all connected, but they don't realize that they're connected to each other, basically. So anyways, we follow these 5 people, and there's like a DNA testing, and they are either single or they're like, I don't know, married already or in a relationship, and they get this like DNA testing done, and then they realize that they're not with their soulmates, or that their soulmate is dead, or like, you know what I mean? It's just like a lot of different scenarios, and like you just see people basically go through these situations, and like their lives completely change for the better or for the worse. And yeah, it's just like, I just wanted to know what was gonna happen eventually. Then I have No Exit. This one, you guys, I don't even remember how it ended, because in my head I DNF'd it. Like, I finished it, but I feel like I clocked out, you know what I mean, like halfway through. So like I don't remember anything from the other half. I feel like it was so boring. I don't even know what I rated it, but I don't think it was higher than 3 stars. Honestly, if I give it 3 stars, I was just feeling generous, because now that it's been a few months, this was not a good book. I did not like it at all. Then we have Beyond the Story. I'm gonna link someone's video about this book. Obviously, I love it. I will have bought it regardless, because I love BTS and I buy anything they put out. Okay, not everything that they put out, but important things like their one and only book, I would have bought it regardless of whether I read it or not. You know what I mean? I have a whole shelf for them, so I would have put it in my collection. But I tried to do a vlog for this, and you guys, it was a disaster. It was just nothing new, and I feel like it was definitely aimed for new armies. And like, if you are just getting into BTS, then go ahead and buy it and read about it, and then you will basically like save a lot of time. But if you found BTS before this book came out, like me, you have already gone down this rabbit hole. You know what I mean? You have already, like, you already know everything about them. So there was just nothing new. I was like bored, honestly. And I don't know if I rated it. I think I rated it 5 stars, because obviously I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna rate it 5 stars regardless, because it's BTS. But I gotta be honest, and I did not enjoy it at all. Then Under the Whispering Door, this one I was gonna get DNF, you guys, and then I basically pushed through, and I ended up loving it. Like, I don't know what it is about this book and like House of the Cerulean Sea, that like the beginning to me, it's like so hard to get through, but like once you get through like the first 25%, it just gets so good. And I feel like if you're someone who likes to like ponder on life and purpose and all that, you definitely would enjoy these books. Ethics of Infatuation Dynamics. This one was just like a little comic. It wasn't really a book. It was like maybe like 10 pages of a comic of how Charlie has a crush on a celebrity, and Nick was not expecting it, and they're dealing with that situation because Nick is a little jealous. And the ending of it was so wholesome and just very heart-stopper. You know, like I love everything heart-stopper, so loved it. And it's not gonna take you more than 5 minutes to read it, so why not? Then we have 3 books that I read in a read it or on a haul it. I have a little cauldron where I pull out a name like randomly, and then I have to basically force myself to read the book or DNF it and get rid of it. So in that video I read Violeta, Then She Was Gone, and My Lovely Wife. So if you guys want to see my thoughts about that, I will link that up in the cards so you guys can check it out. Okay, then I have another vlog for these next books. I didn't remember about these vlogs, to be honest with you. I talked about Divine Rivals, Mile High, and Things We Left Behind in that vlog. So I will link that up at the cards and in the description box so you guys can check it out. I did read Forget Me Not. In this one, we see a grandchild take out their grandmother out of the nursing home, like literally escape with them and kind of give them a little bit like of an adventure, you know, before they pass away. And it was just very wholesome. If you guys obviously are missing your grandparents or something like that, it will be, I was gonna say it will be nice to read, but it might be a little bit triggering. So yeah, if you miss your grandma and you want to cry about your grandma, this will be the graphic novel for you. If you still are lucky enough to have your grandmas with you, then it will still be a nice read so that you can appreciate them while they're still alive. And yeah, very wholesome, amazing graphic novel. I loved it. Then I read the Southern Book Club's Novice Guide to Slaying Vampires. I don't know if that's what it's called. This one. I had read, okay, so I started reading this when I moved to South Carolina, and I loved it. I was obsessed with it, but I don't know why I stopped listening to it and then I forgot about it. Like, I wasn't obsessed with it where, you know, I had to keep going, you know, where I wanted to like know what happened next, but it had me intrigued. And I did always put it, you know how like you label some books like we'll finish later? This was one of my we'll finish later books. And I decided to finally finish it, and I am so glad I did. It was so good. I feel like the ending went very different from what I was expecting. I don't know what to say without spoiling it. That's why I don't like talking about thrillers, because I feel like every single detail matters, and every single time you find out something new, it's like a whole, you know what I mean? That's part of the reading experience. So I don't want to like say anything that happened through the book so that you guys get spoiled. Anyways, really good book. I feel like it's more like a 3.5, 4 stars. It's not like, you know, one of my favorite books of all time or anything like that. But if you like vampires, if you like Charleston, like if you just love the idea of Charleston in, I think it was like the 80s and the 90s, like the whole story took place in that time frame, then you're gonna love this book, because it's just the vibes of this book was on another level. Like the story was okay, but like the vibes were amazing. Talking about vibes, this is one of my top 3 books of this year. It is called Witch of Wild Things. If you guys know me and you have read this book, you understand what I'm talking about. Like, this book was amazing. It's supposed to be a romance, but honestly the romance sucked. So, not sucked, it was just mid, okay? It was mid. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, okay? It felt very YA to me personally, you know what I mean? And when characters feel like immature, like YA, and then they have sex, it's a little bit weird for me. So, whatever. Anyways, it was the descriptions for me. It was like how she would, okay, first of all, Sage, they're all witches. It's like a group of 3 sisters who are witches, and they're Hispanic. So like, I feel like I think one of my friends here on YouTube, I will link her channel down in the description box. She put on Goodreads that she did not like the family, and it kind of like hit me that because I'm Hispanic, the way that they treated each other it's so normalized to me, but it's not normal. Like, it made me realize like that's not normal, you know what I mean? And like, her family was so freaking toxic, and to me, like, I read about it and I was like, I could relate, so I didn't like, you know, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, why would they say that? You know what I mean? I just kept reading like if it was normal. And then I saw her review and I was like, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I digress. Just because characters are unlikable doesn't mean the book is bad. You know what I mean? But Sage is one of the few people that I really liked in this book, and it was her powers for me. I love anything witchy, obviously, but she was what the title is called, a witch of wild things. She can literally communicate with nature. She can communicate with nature. I don't think if I ever had that ability, I will be able to enjoy it, because I will immediately pass out of excitement. So yeah, maybe that's why I loved it. I loved like the descriptions. She will talk about flowers and the smell of things, and like mushrooms, and like just everything. I feel like it was so, I enjoyed the, you know, the drama and like the plot and everything, but I feel like it felt very YA for me, and what made me be obsessed with it was the world building. And because it was basically like everything I would dream about, like I was reading about literally my dream place. So if you guys are not obsessed with nature and you guys are just going into it for the romance, I wouldn't recommend it, but to me it was a top 3 of the whole year, just because of the world building. All right, then we have their next DNF. This one is gonna ruffle some feathers, and that is none other than the first book of the Crescent City series. Y'all, I really tried. I have tried, okay? I gave it a chance. I made it halfway through and I was like, I hate these people. I hate these people. The only person I was into was Danica, and she's freaking dead. Sorry, this is not a spoiler. It is actually, I think, in the back of the book, and it happens within the first like 10% of the book. So basically, like, the most interesting character is freaking dead. And then the other one that's left, which is freaking Bryce, I just find her so immature and just, I don't know, I don't like her. And then what is the name of the guy? Hunt? Like I don't care if he softens later. I just feel like if you're making me read a book that's this thick and like I'm like this way through, like I am a normal book size through, and he's still not likable, I'm sorry, but no. It was just not for me, okay? Not for me. I'm just not that I'm not into urban fantasy, but I'm not as into it as I am into like regular fantasy, you know, because I like nature, like I said. So I like the descriptions of like random, like, you know, beautiful world. I don't care about like cities and stuff like that. So the vibes are not there already. And then like unlikable characters. And then I feel like I curse a lot. I curse a lot. And I still found it to be too much. I feel like the only way for me to like this book, or like at least pretend to like it, to be able to finish it, would have been if it was smaller. I feel like what really messed this book up was the size of it. We're like 30 minutes into this like recording, so I'm just gonna, I feel like I'm talking too much about the books, and I said I wasn't, but I just get so excited. I just get so excited I cannot stop talking about them, so I'm sorry about that. Next, You Again. This is supposed to be based on like Harry Meets Sally or something like that. I had never seen that movie before, so I went into it with nothing to expect. Some people that watch that movie say that it's not the same and that it didn't hit the same, but because I didn't watch the movie, I loved it. I loved it. And I loved that it took so, it's like an actual slow burn. Like the slowest burn of them all. Then we have Pumpkinheads. This one was so wholesome as well. I feel like this is more like YA. This is about two friends who work in like a pumpkin patch every single year, so they don't really, I don't think they talk to each other the rest of the year, but during the fall they see each other at the pumpkin patch or like at the fall like little carnival place, you know what I mean, where they work at. And basically they're spending their last day in the pumpkin patch because they're seniors, so they cannot work there anymore. And then they spend their last day looking for the guy's crush to let them know that he likes her. I'm not gonna keep saying anything else because, you know, I don't wanna spoil it. Then we have The Honeymoon Crashers. This one was really, really good. It was on audiobook, and it was one of those audiobooks where like every character has a different voice actor. So like you will hear the beach, you will hear like the waves if they were outside talking at the beach. If they were at a party, you will hear like the music in the background. It was like one of those audiobooks where you're like in it. It's kind of like a movie without the screen, you know what I mean? You can hear everything. I liked that it was about Olive and Ethan, but it wasn't about Olive and Ethan, you know? All right, then we have another DNF. This is the only book I have ever bought after I DNF'd, and I bought another one. I bought like the Barnes & Noble edition that's like purple. I am gonna display this book everywhere. I am gonna put it all around my house, like just so pretty. It's so pretty. I love it. I love it. Also, I just realized that I have some of these books in the back. This is Witch of Wild Things. Like I said, I am obsessed. Like, just look at this cover. Exactly. Ugh, I love it. I was talking about Miss Emily Wilde here, and she has no personality. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, I just don't care about her. Like, if the whole book is about her, the whole book is about her. So yeah, anyways, I DNF'd that one. Then I read The Handmaid's Tale graphic novel. Very graphic, like essay graphic. So if you guys obviously have a history with essay or it triggers you, just please, I mean, I feel like it's a given because it's Handmaid's Tale. But if you think that the graphic novel is gonna be a little bit more PG because it's little cartoons and like drawings, you're not, no. It's graphic, so just want to put that out there. But if you can look past that, it's amazing. And I feel like I had never watched the show or read the book, and it was a good way for me to kind of like know what people meant whenever like Roe v. Wade got overturned and everyone's like, what in the Handmaid's Tale is going on? Now I get it. And it's scary. It's scary. I'm kind of glad that I'm in Germany right now. Thank you very much. And I read When in Rome. This one, if you like celebrity romance, you're gonna love this one. If you like celebrities who go and live in a small town where everyone is involved, like a small town romance, this is it. Then we have another DNF, The League of Gentlewoman Witches. I don't even know what it's about. Because I know that a pirate came around, but he was a pirate. So I couldn't take him seriously. So I just couldn't get into it. Not for me. Next book I read was, you guys, I am obsessed with this one and the second one. I read the second one as well. All I'm gonna say is the third one came out last Tuesday, and I literally already went to like Nuremberg to get it. Couldn't find it. I had looked for it online. It's not gonna arrive to my house until like the end of November, and I cannot wait until then. So I might do the audiobook as well. I have like 3 credits on Audible. I think my library loan is at like 7 weeks. So hopefully it's good enough to where like people, you know, fly through it and they finish it fast and I don't have to wait that long, you know what I mean? But this was amazing. This is a 5 stars. This is one of the best freaking books I have ever read. This whole world, this whole like personalities. I was gonna say personajes because characters in Spanish is personaje and I ended up saying personality. Anyways, these characters are amazing. I just love them. I'm gonna talk about this one because this is another one that I DNF and I didn't talk about it. I think I DNF this when it came out, like in September. So if you know me, you know I love me some Elena Armas. But this one, this was not it. Like okay, her, talk about someone with zero self-awareness who thinks she's all that. Like I understand that probably by the end of the book, she's gonna be more humble and, you know, she's gonna get better, but like he was bland, for a lack of a better word. All he had going for him was his accent. Apparently, like if you have a British accent, that's enough for people to wanna, you know, be with you. So that's all he had going for him. And then she was entitled, like an entitled brat, and they didn't get along. It was just, I couldn't. And I really was gonna push through because I feel like in the second book, I loved it after I pushed through. Because at first, the girl, I forgot her name, she was very unlikable. I just feel like she couldn't keep it together around a guy. Like she was acting like if she was gonna die just from seeing him, and it was just too much for me. But I was able to look past it, and she did calm down a little bit. Her, not for me. All right, then I read Wildfire. This one, I went into it not expecting much because I feel like I love Icebreaker, but I feel like so many people hype about it and so many people say that it's overhyped that it makes me question my opinion about the book. Which, by the way, I saw a purple one, like a purple version of Icebreaker in Nuremberg when I went this weekend, and I wanted to buy it so bad, but I was like, nope, you don't need it. You'll be okay. You can come back. You can come back. I went into this one thinking that it wasn't gonna be good, but you guys, I loved everything about this book. This hit all the spots for me, and I feel like as someone who doesn't like meet cutes and like insta love, that kind of like messes up for one night stands for me, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's too fast. Not too fast in real life, but like, you know, for a book, I feel like it's too insta lovey for me, right? But this one, I feel like they developed the whole one night stand. Like they make it like you can see from the moment that it starts, from the moment they meet, and then what happens. Like it doesn't feel instant, you know what I mean? And then after that, I feel like it was justified why they didn't talk to each other after the one night stand. Like you could tell that it wasn't because they were just using each other. So you had hope of seeing them meet again and kind of like, you know what I mean? It was like miscommunication basically. And you're just, you know, looking for them to finally clear things and kind of like say how each other feels. And then like, I feel like he was very like a good boy and she was kind of like, you know, not a bad person, but like she wasn't afraid of breaking the rules. You know what I mean? And I feel like I can relate to that because my husband was very like calm and I was more of a rule breaker when we met, and I feel like we have both calmed down in a way. Like I am not as much as a rule breaker as I used to be, and he's not as good as he used to be. Like now he does break some rules, you know what I mean? I feel like we have both kind of like shaped each other to be like a balance of both, if that makes sense. So I was definitely able to relate to them a lot, and I feel like maybe that's why I loved it so much, you know, because I identified with everything. Then I read this winter. This one was a novella. I feel like out of all of the Heartstopper novellas, I feel like this is the one that I like the least. If you love Heartstopper and you want more from the world, highly recommend it. But if you just want to know like just the key, you know, plots of Heartstopper, I don't think it's necessary to read it, you know what I mean? But if you also like Christmas, it does touch a lot on Charlie's recovery from ED, so keep that in mind. Then I have another DNF. This one was The Half Moon. Unlikable characters. I'm telling you, I was not having it with the unlikable characters this whole time. And I'm a Sally Rooney girly, okay? So I love unlikable characters. I don't know why in these books I just couldn't get into it. This one was about a guy. Okay, I feel like the fact that he bought the bar knowing that his wife said no, not that he can't do that, but I feel like there's a difference between like, oh, my wife doesn't let me go out to the bar, and then you go to the bar anyway. That's like not that big of a deal. But like buying a whole bar, like spending that amount of money when your wife is telling you that that is not a smart decision, you know, I feel like that was enough for me to be like, I don't even care about this guy. Like, am I supposed to feel bad that she's divorcing him? What did he expect? You know what I mean? So like, I was just feeling that way. And then I go to Goodreads to mark it as currently reading, and then I see the reviews, like I see that it's like a 3.40 something. I was like, what? Why do people hate this book? And then when I read it, basically it doesn't pick up. Like, nothing really happens after that. So I was like, I'm not about to freaking spend time reading about a guy that I feel deserves what he's getting. Like, no. And then she also was not that likable. Let me just put that out there. She wasn't likable at all either. Like, I had to DNF. We have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and this one was so freaking good. If you like House of the Cerulean Sea, you're gonna love this one. I feel like it hits all the spots. It has like the little fantasy element, it has the romance, it has like the kids, the newfound family. Like, it's not just you find a person with kids. Like, there's other adults involved. It's like a whole house, you know what I mean? And it's just, it was very wholesome. It was very like, yeah, if you love House of the Cerulean Sea, I feel like you are gonna love this one. I might even say that it was better than House of the Cerulean Sea, in my opinion. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.